What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA Show. And today we got a banger of a show. We started a little bit early because this is the day. We are one day away from the biggest UFC fight card of all time, UFC 300, okay? Major announcements in the world of mixed martial arts. Unbelievable. I don't know if you guys saw the press conference yesterday, but it was pretty fun despite there not being a lot of drama. If you guys are looking for drama or looking for people talking smack back and forth, it wasn't really there, but it was still a fun press conference. The biggest announcement of the presser, unbelievable, okay, is the announcement of the 300K bonuses. So I believe those are win bonuses and performance of the night bonuses, I think, or finishes like that, which are normally 50K. They're now up to 300K, which is insane. And I think that goes for every fight on the card. Justin is out of town right now, but kind enough to join us for the show from his hotel room. But Justin, I got to turn it over to you right off the bat. As a professional fighter, as a fighter in the UFC, what does this mean for the fighters that they up the bonuses to this massive amount, 6x for all of these bonuses? What was your thoughts when you first heard this?
I think it's awesome, and I'll tell you why I think it's awesome. Everybody on the card is a true UFC vet. I think Bo Nichols is the least experienced one out of everybody, and he's a minus 2,000 favorite. So I don't really see him, even if he goes out there and starches in a minute, I don't see him getting a bonus. When you look at former champions like Cody Garbrandt, Davison Figueiredo, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, like these are all guys that have bonus written right across their forehead. They've been getting bonuses since their UFC debut, and honestly, there isn't a better card that's been out there that deserves these big bonuses better than this, because again, these guys have been entertaining us for years. They've been fighting for that 50K bonus for the majority of their life. To give them the opportunity to go out there and put it all on the line for $300,000 bonus is just incredible. And it couldn't be, I couldn't be happier for the guys, because there's no more deserving fighters than everybody on this card.
It's so cool. So I was listening to some people talk about the 300K bonuses, and it's sort of like a guarantee that this is going to be the wildest card of all time. People are going to be going for those finishes, going for exciting fights, because they know, that's just such a big payday. I imagine, everybody is a vet, as you mentioned, so I'm sure they all have pretty solid contracts and pretty good payouts, but I imagine there's still got to be quite a few where those bonuses are gonna be more than the base pay, even if they get a win. So that is fantastic. We know that the whole fight card is going to be stacked. I'm watching from the jump. I'm watching from 3 p.m. PST onwards. Of course I have to. Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. We haven't even talked about that fight. I can't wait for that fight. We barely talked about Jalen Turner versus Renato Moicano. It just goes on and on and on. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the weigh-ins today. I watched a lot of it, and I watched a lot of the weigh-in show, but I've got all the weigh-ins queued up, and we're going to hit this entire card from the early prelims all the way through. We're going to mark down our predictions as you wanted, and we're going to keep score. I'm sure we're going to overlap on some of our picks, but it's going to be a really fun episode. So, guys, if you want the breakdown, you're in the right place. Without further ado, let's get into it. So we're starting off with the early prelims, and I gotta say, sad to say, to some extent, as much of a UFC fan as I consider myself to be, a lot of times I do miss the early prelims. Sometimes I'll catch some of the prelims, but not this time, not for this fight card. This is very exciting. All right, we're going to start it off at the top with Davison Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt, your boy. And before we jump into the mix, let's look at the weigh-ins, and we're going to get a little bit more context. By the way, I was thinking about it the other day. I really think the UFC or fight sports in general need to get on the horse and figure out a way to get rid of weight cuts altogether. It's like you go through the most torturous process of your life where you're close to death, and then you go in and fight and have an athletic event. It's just like it was occurred to me at the gym. I'm like, it's just the stupidest thing. It's so bad for these fighters. But anyways, we can talk about that another day. All right. Sure. So let's get in the mix. Let's take a look at these two weigh-ins, and we're going to then get your thoughts, get my thoughts, and make our picks. Here we go.
$135 and a half. 135. 136. 136, the official weight for Cody Nolo.
Okay, So let's stop there. Both look pretty good. Obviously, it looked like Davison was kind of really hoping that he made that weight, and he actually came in a half pound under what he needed. Let's take it away. Give us your analysis, Justin, first.
Well, you look at two guys, Cody Garbrandt being the former bantamweight champion of the world. He's put on some incredible shows in the past, throughout his whole UFC career. One that really sticks out to me is, the Dominic Cruz fight when he was dancing and dropping him and having a good time. And, I'm really hoping Cody gets back to that. He loosens back up. Now, we look at the 125-pound champion of the world, Davison Figueiredo, or however you want to pronounce his last name. Dude, this guy's fast. He's dynamic. He's explosive. He reminds me of a lot of Mighty Mouse in a lot of ways. I know he's struggled making 125. So, I really think him going up to 135 is huge. It's huge for the sport. It's huge for the division, and this is a great way to kick off the card because, Cody doesn't want to go in there and wrestle. Cody wants to go in there and knock this guy's head off. And, Figueiredo on the other side, is very fast, very dynamic. I think it's going to be a striking matchup. I give the advantage to Cody because of the size. Cody's already been there. He's already been, he's been the champ at that weight class before. With that being said, his people have known his chin to be a little suspect sometimes. And Davison coming up on the other side, putting that extra weight on, putting that extra power on. Can he keep up the speed? Can he keep the power and knock Cody Garbrandt out? I'm not really sure. I'm taking Cody Garbrandt in this fight. He's my boy. He's my son's favorite fighter. Cody Garbrandt all the way.
I hate to copy you, but I want to take that same route. I actually want to pick, or I'm going to pick Cody Garbrandt as well. He's the natural at the weight class. As you mentioned, going down 125 was too low. I know Davison Figueiredo has always had a really hard time with the weight cut, so maybe this is a more natural fit, but I'm going to roll with, and he's also coming off of 2 consecutive wins. One, the last 2 losses were against, for this is Cody Garbrandt. One of them obviously was flyweight, I think, against Kai Kara-France, but then he lost to Rob Font, who's a brutal, tough fighter. So I think Cody Garbrandt as well. We're going to lock it in for both of our picks, and we're going to move on to the next fight. Holy smokes. What a way to start this card in the early prelim, starting at 3 p.m. PST. It's wild. All right. Next, we haven't even talked about this fight. Like, this card is insane. Next, we got Bobby Green. Really, we should say King. That's how he prefers to go by now, just King, as he mentioned recently on the show, on the weigh-in show. And he is kind of flirting a little bit with Laura Sanko. That was pretty funny. But we got Bobby Green. So before we jump in, let's take a look at the weigh-ins. And then I'm going to turn it over to Justin to give his pick first. Here we go.
$156. 156, the official weight for King Green. Lightweight division, Jim fucking Miller. $155.5, the official weight for Jim.
All right. So there's our little look at the weigh-ins. We know, obviously, Jim Miller is a vet, and he's been around for a long time, been fighting at tons and tons of big events. And then we got King as well. Just came off a pretty bad knockout from Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner had a quick turnaround. Those are some factors taken into consideration. Justin, let me turn over to you first.
We're talking about some of my favorite fighters, man. I've had the pleasure of fighting on the same card as Bobby Green multiple times. He fought my college roommate, Darren Cruikshank, for the King of the Cage World Championship like 10 years ago. I'm a huge Bobby Green. Oh, shit. Dropped my camera. Huge Bobby Green fan. Love the guy. Love his striking. I love his style. Love the shit talk. But the opposition, Jim fucking Miller. He fought at UFC 100. He's fought at UFC 200. He's fighting at UFC 300. The guy's had over 40 fights in the UFC, I believe. So like, crazy. It's something crazy, man. This guy is a dog, and to survive that long in this sport, especially at that level, is something special about you. You don't have 40 fights in the UFC, and dude, this guy's a dog. Jim Miller all the way. He's going to win. He's going to beat Bobby Green, and he's going to retire at UFC 300. That's my prediction.
Dang it. I thought you were going to go Bobby Green. I thought we'd have some differences here. But yeah, I'm actually going to go Jim Miller too. I'm going Jim Miller for different reasons. I mean, much respect to him, but also, I don't know. I just feel like that knockout was tough. It was rough, and it's a quick turnaround. So I'm leaning towards Jim Miller as well. So it's a story.
It's a storybook, man. The guy is a gangster. UFC 100. You know, he wore his UFC 100 jacket into the presser. This guy's a vet. He's motivated. And like I said, man, what a fucking storybook that would be. Jim Miller goes in there, starches Bobby Green, takes his gloves off, and retires at UFC 300. It's guaranteed a 300K bonus if that happens. And, you know, I wish the best for him and his future endeavors, whether he stays in the sport or moves on. Man, I really want Jim to win this fight.
What if he gets a win bonus and fight of the night? 600K. That's crazy. All right. So imagine that. Let's see what happens. We're wishing for the best for Jim Miller. Actually, wishing for the best, honestly, I'm a huge King fan as well. But I don't know, that's just where my gut is going. I'm trying not to go as much with my heart this time, but I guess we'll see. Udin Sanchez, what's up? Nice. Welcome to the stream. Here we go. All right. Next, moving on to we haven't really talked about this fight at all. Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. And I'm going to be the first to admit, I know definitely a lot less about female UFC fighters. And for whatever reason, I don't really have an excuse. But anyways, let's first jump into the weigh-ins, and then I'm going to turn over to Justin, and we'll see his thoughts as well as mine.
116, the official weight for the former champ, Jessica Andrade. The official weight for Marina Rodriguez.
All right, Justin, let's turn over to you first. What do you think about this matchup? What do you know about this matchup? What do you think about the outcome here?
You know, I don't know too much about Marina Rodriguez, but I will tell you, I do know a little bit about Jessica Andrade. We're talking about the former UFC champion of the world. Now, the problem I have with this matchup is Jessica is hit or miss right now, or I feel she's been hit or miss over the last couple of years. You know, she showed up. She's this big, strong brute. You know, she knocked out Rose Namajunas, you know, a while back when she didn't give up the submission, picks her up, slams her on her head. But then since then, you know, since she won the championship again, I just feel she's been hit or miss. She's shown up sometimes. She hasn't shown up. I'm taking the underdog in this fight, Marina Rodriguez. She's given the opportunity to fight the former champ at UFC 300. She's going to take full advantage of that, and she's going to win this fight.
All right, great. So we're gonna have our first difference. I'm gonna go with Jessica Andrade. I'm gonna tell you why. Both of them are coming off recent wins. I don't know if you saw the Mackenzie Dern fight. That was, I think, the same card as Ilia Topuria against Volk. And she's coming off that win. Also, Marina Rodriguez is coming off a win. And the interesting thing about both of them is they had a few consecutive losses in between. But I'm gonna roll with Jessica Andrade. So we're gonna have our first difference here. I'm gonna mark that down. Justin's going with Rodriguez. I'm going with Andrade, and we're going to see how that breaks down. All right, moving on to the top of the prelim bill. This is going to be such a banger. If you guys haven't checked out Renato Moicano's YouTube channel or anything else in terms of his content, man, he's a lot of fun, and this is going to be a bit of a classic. Striker versus grappler. We got to look at the weight cut because we know Jalen Turner cuts a lot of weight. MMA Guru and some other folks have called him a weight bully. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that. I can't say and I know enough, but I know he's tall and he seems really, really big for the weight class. But without further ado, let's check out this weight cut here.
$155.5 is the official weight for Jalen Turner. $156, the official weight for Renato Moicano.
All right. Give us your thoughts. What do you think? Or you want me to go first this time?
Yeah, go ahead. You go first. I already got my lock.
I really like watching Jalen Turner fight a lot because he's a classic striker. He's got amazing Muay Thai. But I'm going to go with Moicano. I'm going to go with the grappler. I'm going to say that he's going to pressure Jalen Turner. He's going to be all over him. And I think that's especially going to come in handy with that aggressive weight cut. Not having as much endurance as maybe would be needed to fend off those takedowns. And Moicano's pretty relentless, so I'm going with him. Justin, what do you got?
I'm taking Moicano as well. You know, I like Jalen Turner. I think he has a really long style. You know, for someone to call him a weight bully, I hate when people say shit like that. For one, he weighed in less than Moicano, as I said, a half pound less. But, you know, when you talk about weight bully, it's, you know, if you Like, why? I don't know.
It's silly.
I don't like that term because anybody can gain weight, you know, during their fight camp and be heavy. Now, if you want to talk about
Sure.
like a range bully, I guess so. But I mean, that's just the gift he was given, you know, with his long
True.
range. I'm sure he has probably like a 70 to 80-inch range. With that being said, Mocano is so hot right now, man. He's coming off. He has this incredible podcast. He has the ball rolling. All momentum is rolling in his favor. And I know a lot of people say, well, that stuff doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. But it does, because when you're feeling good and you got things going good for you, it's easy to keep that ball rolling. When things aren't going good for you, that's when it's hard to get the ball rolling. Right now, I'm not taking it because of his technique. I'm not taking him because I think he's an awesome fighter, although I do think he's an awesome fighter. I'm taking him because right now I feel he has the most momentum going right now in his life. We're talking about he's coming off a big win in the UFC. Everyone's talking about he had that great interview, his post-fight interview. This guy has all the momentum in the world going for him. I'm taking Mocano for the win.
Love it. All right. Celine writes, learning so much about MMA with you guys. With Justin, you mean? I'm learning
With
too.
you too. With you too.
And she said that where she's at, she's got to wake up at 2 a.m. So that is dedication. But I would do the same thing where if I was somewhere else in the world, 100, this one you can't miss. Okay. That takes us through the early prelims. I mean, imagine that. That's like a main event card right there that we just read off. That is wild. All right. Now we come to, I don't know. Are you a fan of Diego Lopez? He's pretty awesome to watch. What do
You know, yeah, I just became a fan of him as of recent, you know, so him and I fought a similar opponent. And arguably, in my opinion, the toughest guy I've ever fought, Gavin Tucker, super tough Canadian, black belt, you know, ended up catching me in the third round. I dropped him in the first. And, you know, for Diego Lopez to fight him and go out there and do what he did to Gavin Tucker tells me that this guy is the real guy. Again, I shared the ring with Gavin Tucker, toughest guy I've ever fought, dropped him, had him in deep submissions, you know, like did tons and tons of damage, but I couldn't put him away. Diego Lopez put him away in the first round, man, and that just speaks volumes to me. Sadiq Yusuf on the other side, very fast, very strong. You know, he's very, very big. I've stood next to this guy. This guy's the size of a Mack truck. But with that being said, Diego Lopez, watching him do what he did to Gavin Tucker, I'm taking Diego Lopez for the finish.
Okay, now before we can lock that in, but I just want to quickly let's show the weight cut after from this morning. Let's check it out, and then I'll give you my pick as well. Here we go.
$146. 146, the official weight for Sadiq Yusuf. $146.
These guys, they're so shredded. It's crazy. And they actually both look pretty good after that weight cut. All right. And just to give you a quick note, right? Diego Lopez is coming off 2 consecutive wins in a row. Pat Sabatini and, as you mentioned, Gavin Tucker. Sadiq Yusuf is actually coming off a loss against Edson Barbosa. Extremely, extremely tough opponent. And that was back in October of 2023. So I'm actually going to go the same way you're going to go. Unfortunately, we don't have a distinction here. We're going to go both with Lopez. I'm choosing him for a combination of reasons, one of which is he's on a hot streak. He's such a fan favorite. He's on fire right now. Got a lot of momentum. So let's go. Here we go. This one I don't even need to talk about. I got my pick locked in. I assume you do as well. Before we talk about it, let's show the weight cut, because this is the major concern. Now, for Kayla Harrison in particular. Now, Kayla Harrison was on the weigh-in show this morning, and I did notice that her voice was very raspy. It's my understanding that that's a pretty common thing, or can be a fairly common thing when going through a weight cut, or more importantly, a difficult weight cut. But she seemed composed. Other than that, she was joking around. She seemed in good spirits. But let me get your expert opinion as we check this out. And by the way, people were saying from the get-go, right? Kayla Harrison is an absolute professional. There's no question that she will make the weight. The question is, what's the toll that the weight cut is going to have on her come fight night? All right, here we go. Let's check it out. Whoops.
Official weight for 136 pounds, the official weight for Holly Holm. Much fanfare Saturday night. Former 2-time Olympic gold medalist representing the United States of America and now competing in the UFC women's bantamweight division, Kayla Harrison. 136, the official weight for Kayla Harrison.
Oh boy. All right. What are your thoughts?
I tell you what, Kayla Harrison, you know, competing in judo at 171 pounds, winning 2 gold medals, going to the PFL, becoming a 2 or a 3-time world champion at 155 pounds. Now she makes her UFC debut against the former, bantamweight women's champion of the world, Holly Holm. I mean, right now, Holly, I'll tell you what, I didn't think Kayla was going to make weight. I'm going to be honest. But when I saw her make weight, she is shredded. She looks incredible, rocking. With that being said, she is a huge favorite in this fight. And, you know, I'll be honest, I think Kayla's a favorite for a reason, but I'm going to go against the grain because I know you're choosing Kayla. I'm going with the preacher's daughter, Holly Holm, only because she's been around. She's the UFC champ. She's made 135. She's not going to have any problem with the gas tank. Kayla, right now, she's kind of a wild card, man. I tell you what, when I made 145 for the first time in my career, it was the worst I've ever felt. I couldn't break a sweat during the warm up, and you know, talking to my doctors and the PI and my nutritionist at the PI. So like I depleted myself so bad. I'm sure she did as well. The next day after I was hydrated up, I went from 145 to 180 pounds overnight. I couldn't pee. I couldn't sweat. You know, and the doctor's just like, your body's just in survival mode right now. So it's holding on to all the hydration, all the water, all the salt it can. I'm telling you what, when me and Roman Isbell were warming up before I fought Gavin Tucker, I couldn't even get a sweat going. I'm like, Roman, something's wrong. I feel heavy. I feel this. I feel that. He's like, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Now, does Kayla Harrison have that same? Is she going to have that same problem I had? I don't know, but making a big weight cut like that, looking the way she does, making weight, she could. I'm taking the preacher's daughter, Holly Holm, in this one.
Yeah, this is one where there's just no way I can go against Kayla Harrison just because she's probably my favorite female fighter of all time. And it's just so sad. And because I feel like she's such a fierce competitor and she's so skilled and she's so amazing. If it weren't for the damage done from the weight cut, I feel like she would definitely win. Not to throw any shade at Holly Holm, but she's just that good. And her pedigree, it speaks for itself as an Olympic champion. So I got to choose Kayla Harrison, man. I guess we'll find out. Let me note down both of our choices. Justin's going with Holly Holm, and I am going with Kayla. All right. Well, let's see what happens. But it's going to be such a fun fight. I think it's going to be really interesting. And don't forget, Holly Holm is the one that came in and got the big upset way back in the day against, what's her name? Ronda Rousey. So here we go. Moving right along to your boy, Aljo versus Calvin Kattar. Let's check out the weight cut real quick. Here we go.
$145.5. 145.5. The official weight for Calvin Kattar. Master Aljamain Sterling.
Al just like smiling. He's happy. Probably happy he's ever been at a weight cut with those extra 10 pounds, I imagine. All right, take it away. Who do you got?
That's exactly right. I'm taking Aljamain Sterling all the way to the bank. Aljo is going up a weight class. You know, I know he struggled with his weight cut, going down to bantamweight, going up, getting that 10 pounds. He looks great. He's in shape. This guy, if he gets on Calvin Kattar's back, it's going to be an early night. He is an expert at grappling. He's an expert. Once he gets on your back, man, he's like a spider monkey. You can't get him off you. He's threatening with submissions. He has a great rear naked choke. He has a great guillotine. I'm taking Aljamain Sterling, the former bantamweight champion, taking out Calvin Kattar here due to his grappling.
I think I have to go the same way. There's no other question. I think Aljo really is, despite being one of the most dominant bantamweights of all time, he's still underrated, I think, in a lot of ways. And he is going to really stir things up in this division. It's going to be unbelievable. I'm curious to see where he goes next. If he does get the win, what's going to happen, because there's already so many people vying for that title shot in that division. So this will be really, really cool and really, really interesting. All right, now moving on. to a fight that has just, I don't know. I mean, it's a banger of a fight regardless. A fight that a lot of people are upset is on the prelims. And because, you know, Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage has made it to the main card. So people are very upset about this. They were booing Bo Nickel mercilessly at the presser yesterday. And Bo Nickel didn't really do anything. He's like, yes, I didn't choose to be on the main card. They placed me here, which is a fair point. But Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic, this is an amazing fight, and there's a little smack talking going back and forth. This is one that I have to pick a certain way, because this one I just can't get over my favorite and the fighter that I'm really going for. But I'm going to say that in a second. Let's check out the weigh-ins, and then we're going to give our picks. Here we go. Boom, boom.
206, the official weight for Yuri Prochazka.
Both looking solid, both looking in great shape. I think the odds makers actually have Rakic as a favorite. I can't remember for sure, but that was my recollection. He came off a long layover. DC himself said that layover and that time off is going to be helpful for him. DC is not allowed to make a pick, obviously, as he's commentating. I'm going Yuri Prochazka all day, and I can really only tell you that from my heart perspective, from listening to him talk. I'm just such a fan of his warrior mentality. He's just a straight shooter right down the middle. He was really, really upset that Rakic was talking smack, calling him a fake samurai. And again, we mentioned that on the show, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, that warrior code, that Yuri is not going to go out there and say things just to rile somebody up. And I love that. And when a fighter can operate that way, where almost they refuse out of a moral principle to engage in those types of war tactics, even though they could be effective and useful, but it's just his code. And where I just have nothing but respect for him. Plus, he's such a fun fighter. He just seems like a great guy. And that's it. I got to go Yuri. Okay, no problem. Justin's coming right back. We're going to lock in his pick in a second. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, I encourage you. I'm putting in my pick here. I really encourage you to check out this clip where it is brought to his attention that Rakic said that. He just is like, it's funny because it's a true reaction. He's just like, how can you say that about somebody when you don't know them? And it's like, obviously he's talking smack and he's just trying to maybe build the fight up, right? But like in his mind, he's like, no, you can't do that. That's a lie. Like, how can you lie about me? That's not right. So I don't know. That just was really exciting. Plus, the last point I want to make is Yuri did mention that against his last fight versus Poatan, he had a terrible training camp, like unbelievably bad. It wasn't his full capacity whatsoever. So I think he's got way more to show us than what he showed us then. That's my pick. Justin, take it away. Who do you got?
You know, after everything you had to say and listening to, his interview yesterday, his pre-fight interview, man, how can you go against Yuri? But I am just for bragging rights, Daniel Cormier, listening to him talk about Rakic. It's like, I think he convinced me that he can take out Yuri. I think Yuri's phenomenal. I love his code of conduct. I love that he doesn't believe in talking shit. He's offended that Alexander is talking shit. With that being said, DC, I want to be on the other side of the fence here so I can get some points above you. I'm taking DC's pick, Alexander.
Okay, wait, but I think DC would say, hey, I didn't make him pick some commentating. But yeah, I think that's what he was leading towards too. So, all right, we got another split there. Here we go, guys. Now we're on to the big dogs, the main event. Well, those guys should probably, I guess, from an equity standpoint, should be on the main card. But here we go. Bo Nickel, arguably one of the most exciting rising stars in the sport. Maybe right after Khamzat Chimaev. But this is it. He's fighting Cody Brundage. He's a 25-1 favorite. What do you think? You get to all right. Let's look at the weigh-ins. Let's not break protocol here. But yeah, I'm not that curious to hear your pick. I'm assuming I know which way you're going to go, but let's check it out anyways.
Middleweight division, Bo Nickel. 186 pounds, the official weight for Bo Nickel. 186, the official weight for Cody Brundage.
All right, Justin, let's hear it. Who do you got?
I got to go with the odds makers on this one. 25-1 favorite, Bo Nickel. With that being said, All right, listen. With that being said, I'm putting money on Cody to
Ooh,
win. All
no
right,
way.
I'm taking Bo Nickel to win because in our thing because he's a 25-1
Yeah.
favorite. But after listening to Aljamain Sterling talk about Cody and talk about some of the positive things that he's really good at in the cage, I mean 25-1, I throw $100 on it, could come out $2,500, man. So my money's going to Cody, Bo Nickel for our bet. I'm sure you're taking Bo as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I have to take Bo Nickel. Heart and mind tell me to take Bo Nickel, and it's going to be a great fight. I can't wait to see it. Bo Nickel, the pressure's on him. Whatever people want to say, the pressure's on him to get a crazy finish and a quick finish. I mean, it's almost like if he doesn't get it done in the first round, people are going to look at it as a failure, and that's what Bo Nickel has to deal with his amazing pedigree and wrestling background. It is what it is. But that still makes it exciting to me. Though there are still stakes. Again, we've talked about stakes. We're going to come back to that point when I talk about the main event. And I think I finally put it together in my mind why people, I mean, there's obvious reasons, but I kind of get now why people are maybe disappointed about the main event. I can put my finger on it a little bit better after really thinking about it. But anyways, moving on. We haven't really talked about this fight nearly enough. Okay. This actually, what did I say yesterday when I was thinking about my top 3 favorite fights? I didn't even mention this fight, and it's ridiculous. This fight is going to be out of control. Oliveira versus Sarukian. Let's check out the weigh-ins, and then we're going to talk about our predictions.
$156. 156, the official weight for Charles Two Bronx Oliveira. $156, the official weight for the lightweight contender, Arman Tsarukyan.
So he pronounced it Sarukhan, and I know he usually has the pronunciations right. I thought it was Sarukian, but John Anik almost never gets name pronunciations wrong. So, but anyways, Arman is pretty cool because he's Armenian. I don't know if you know this, but there's a really big Armenian population in Los Angeles. I bet he's got a lot of fan support. Now, people were saying that the biggest hurdle and the biggest challenge for Charles Oliveira in this fight was making weight. He made the weight, but he looked really sucked down to me. Not only that, Sarukian has the age advantage as well. Sarukian's coming off an amazing win. Actually, he came off a win against Beneil Dariush, and Charles Oliveira recently beat Beneil as well. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup. I'll tell you where I'm landing is Arman Sarukian. I feel like he's just got too much momentum. He's got an amazing skill set. People are saying that he's got a slight striking advantage. Curious to hear your thoughts. I know Charles Oliveira, I think his Muay Thai is excellent, but they feel like Arman Sarukian is a little bit cleaner on with his hands. And also, he's not going to be afraid to take it to the ground with Charles Oliveira. I think that's what the downfall potentially was for Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. They didn't want to follow him down. He recovered and ended up winning. Justin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. This guy, Arman Tsarukyan he's on the up and up right now. He's red hot. He's fire. I do think he has the striking advantage against Charles Oliveira. As I see this fight going, I mean, I could see him drop Charles and go for the finish because he is a finish fighter, and Charles catching him in a triangle, catching an armbar in that transition. With that being said, Charles has very, very tough weight cuts. He's missed weight before, even in title fights. So with that being said, how is his brain? He made weight. So how's his brain going to be able to take the damage Sarukian's going to be dishing out? I'm taking Arman Sarukian here for the win.
Ooh, all right. We're matching up here again. All right. Sarukian. I put in those picks. Here we go. Moving on to one of the fights that people are most excited about, the BMF belt. And the stakes are kind of interesting here because I think if Justin Gaethje's in line for the next title fight. If he loses, I think things could change drastically. So those are the stakes. Max Holloway comes away with a victory. I imagine he's going to go down and he's going to challenge, especially if he gets a good victory, he's going to challenge Ilia Topuria. Let's watch the weigh-ins. And before we jump into the picks, I want to tell you, I listened to Big John talk about this fight. He gave a really interesting perspective. I'm going to share it with you and then get your thoughts. All right, here we go.
Future Hall of Famer, the former UFC interim lightweight champion and the BMF belt holder at present, Justin Gaethje. 156, the official weight for the highlight, Justin Gaethje. And with that, the BMF title bout is now official. champion fight for the BMF belt here on Saturday night, Max West Holloway.
156.
156, the official weight.
So Max looks shredded. Okay. And if you compare that with how he looked against Dustin Poirier, it's a vast difference. So he definitely must have put on some muscle during this bulk up process, which he has mentioned. He said, over and over, he's done it the right way, added the right type of lean mass. So here's what Big John said. Big John is picking Max Holloway in this fight. And the reason why is he's looked back historically at fights that Justin's had, and the ones where he's, I guess, struggled or almost been taken apart is when he fights these really crisp strikers. He references Michael Johnson, where Michael Johnson was having a ton of success before Justin Gaethje kind of flipped the script and pulled away with the victory. So he's taking Max Holloway. Now, I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to choose Justin Gaethje for a couple of different reasons. I think one, obviously, he's just a phenomenal fighter. He's been tested over and over in this division. Number two, I don't know if you ever heard this, but I think he was tested as having like the highest bone density of all UFC fighters, or like second highest. He's got really, really high bone density. I think that adds to his power and why he can crack so hard, not only because he can swing hard, but again, that density just makes his strikes that much more vicious. And again, Max is coming up, not a trip, from 145, right? So he's coming up, and maybe this power is going to feel a little bit different than what he's accustomed to. So for those reasons, I am going with Justin Gaethje. Let's turn over to you, Justin. What are your thoughts? I know you're probably going Justin because he's your favorite fighter, but yeah, what do you think?
Absolutely, I'm taking Justin Gaethje. He's the bigger man. What he just did to Dustin Poirier. I love Max Holloway. I think he's great, but I think he's great at featherweight. I think Dustin Poirier exposed him when he came up to lightweight. Yes, does he look a little bit bigger? But you have to keep in mind, his game plan after allegedly beating Justin Gaethje is to go back to featherweight. So with that being said, if he's planning to go back to featherweight anytime soon, how much mass did he really put on? Because he can't, it's hard to lose lean mass. It's very, very tough to do. So if he's going up so much and then in 3 or 4 months he plans to go back down to featherweight, I just don't think it's a good idea. I think Justin Gaethje is going to be the bigger, the more powerful guy. I think he's going to go in there, and I think he's going to rock Max Holloway. Do I think he knocks him out? I don't know. Max has never been knocked out. But if someone's going to knock him out, it's going to be Justin Gaethje. I'm taking Justin Gaethje for the win.
I'm taking Justin Gaethje for the win. I think he gets the knockout. I think he's going to get it done. They made the point on that same show, on the weigh-in show, you've never been knocked out until you get knocked out, right? There's always a first time for everything. I mean, this could be it. I mean, who else is going to do it other than Justin Gaethje, especially moving up a weight class? So, right, Dustin Poirier was the first guy to knock Conor out. Didn't happen until it happened. So I think, man, it's going to be just crazy fireworks. Imagine Justin getting a win bonus and a finish bonus. Oh my God, like $600K on top of, I'm sure he's already making tons of money. He is, how would I put it? He's the most popular fighter, purely like non-champion, I would say, maybe of all time. People just absolutely love this guy. The cheers he gets at the presser, the anticipation people have for his fight. So let's go Justin Gaethje. Yeah, well, obviously Max Holloway too. So this is just going to be a banger, a total banger of a fight. All right, moving on. Moving on to the co-main event. China versus China. Unbelievable fight. Weili is of female fighters, maybe after Kayla Harrison, she's one of my favorites. Let's check out the weigh-ins and then let's chat about it.
For match time world title challenger in the co-main event live on pay-per-view, the number one UFC strawweight contender. $115, the official weight for Yan Xiaonan. 115, the official weight for Zhang Weili.
Dude, I bet just like she just always got a smile on her face. I bet she's so cool to hang out with, you know what I mean? And I bet she's just got the best mindset. It's also probably why she's so successful in the sport. But we've got the thing about Yan, the basically the person who's challenging Wei Li, what people say is her biggest attribute is her power. But the thing is, it's no longer a surprise. People are well aware. Wei Li is well aware of her power and is going to game plan accordingly. And she's one of the best strategists, a super intelligent fighter. And they think that she's going to be able to work around that power. Obviously, she's got other attributes. But Justin, anyways, let me turn it over to you. What are your initial thoughts on this matchup?
Weili's one of my favorite female fighters, man. Watching her go with Yana Nunjacek, like fight of the year, one of the best female fights I've ever seen. We're talking about a very, very powerful. You look at her on the scale, look at her shoulders. She has boulders for shoulders. She's very, very strong. She's very, very smart. She game plans. She's ready to go. I think she's going to be too much for Yan. China versus China. Weili holds the belt.
All right, I'm going with Wei Li too. I can't go any other way. So again, we're matching up. We're gonna have a lot of matching picks. Hey, that's fair, right? I mean, what are you gonna do? All right, now we get to the main event. I got a lot of stuff to talk about. By the way, guys, thank you so much for joining the stream. We're just getting going here on this channel. We love mixed martial arts and the UFC so much. Obviously, Justin loves it so much. They decided to fight for the UFC a bunch of times. Right. So yeah, that's how much he likes it more than me. But yeah, thank you guys so much. If you could drop us a like as we get into the main event, we really appreciate it. And subscribe. We got content coming out every week and we're only ramping it up and we have a lot of fun here. So looking forward to having you join along with the fun as well. Okay. Before I show the weigh-ins, I want to show this clip. This is really, really cool. So Jamal Hill, for those of you guys who don't know, Jamal Hill came up on the Michigan circuit with Justin. So Justin knows him really well. We're trying to get Jamal actually on the show. Jamal is a really, really fun, awesome, amazing fighter, first of all, but he's a really, really fun guy to listen to in interviews. So if you haven't checked out his interviews, I highly encourage you to do this. But one thing that he did, and I think people are saying he's the breakaway star of the press conference. He's the one guy that brought the heat against Pereira. It was overall a pretty cordial presser. Not that I have a problem with that, but it is obviously fun to see a little bit of heat, and he definitely brought that heat. Now, look what he did. He has a prop here, and I want to show this to you. I don't fully understand it, but I think he's basically insulting Pereira with this figure. So just watch this real quick, and I want to get your opinion. Like, look at Pereira. I hear people say it both ways. He is pissed. He's kind of like that Yuri mentality, I feel like, where he's like, that's not my code. I don't play around like that. Like, that's not funny to me. So check this out. Sweet dreams Hill. Like, do you see that thing? I think he's brought that up because I think he's like trying to say that is Alex Pereira. Okay, watch this. Dude, Alex Pereira looks terrifying. Okay. Anyways, so first thoughts on that, then we'll watch the weigh-ins. Like,
I mean, so I've heard people joke and laugh that his head, that Alex Pereira's head does look like that, whatever that necklace he has. So I'm assuming Jamal's bringing that out, saying he's going to hang him. I'm sure that's all it was about. You know, it's Alex. I mean, he knows what it's about. I'm sure he's not overly pissed about it, but you never know. We'll see. Let's check out the weigh-ins.
All right, let's check out the weigh-in, and then I want to chat a little bit too about the stakes in this fight and potentially what people were disappointed in. Okay, here we go.
Light heavyweight champion, now the #1 contender, Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill.
205. 205. By the way, he's never looked this lean. I don't think. He looks in incredible shape.
The official weight for Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. Poatan Alex Pereira.
He does look like the necklace. He does look like it.
205, the official weight for the champ, Alex Pereira. And with that, the UFC 300 main event is now official.
Okay, you said it. I didn't say it. So listen. Here's what I realized. What I think people were expecting, and the reason why, what I think people wanted for this main event were stakes. These fighters are both incredible. This fight's going to be amazing. But I think what gets people extra excited and why they were entertaining the thought of Pereira going up and fighting Tom Aspinall is that stakes of like, this guy is shooting for the greatest accomplishment of all time, a triple champ, which has never been done before, you know, or something like that. Or Islam Makhachev going up and fighting Leon Edwards, because we have this established champ high on the pound for pound list going for ultimate greatness. So those stakes elevate the anticipation for the fight. And I think that's what people were missing. Or Conor coming back, or Khabib talking about coming back, you know, these types of things where it's like, oh my God, coming back for the 30-0. I think that's the thing that is maybe potentially missing from this fight, and why maybe more casual fans aren't as excited about it. The thing is, I think that people are not recognizing the full potential and skill within Jamal Hill to be one of the greatest fighters of all time. He has it. If for whatever reason people don't acknowledge it, he's never been knocked out. He had one loss, and it was, I think it was an injury or a disqualification, some weird
broken arm.
There we go, broken arm. Yeah, it was because of a random injury. So he actually has that potential.
Well, it wasn't random. It wasn't random. He got armbarred and he didn't tap.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. So I guess
it was a legit. Yeah, it was a legit loss. He unfortunately he didn't tap, and then when they stopped, his arm was just kind of laying there. But regardless.
Okay, well, no, but that's good context. But okay, fine. But the point is, I think his skill set is there to accomplish really, really tremendous things. Obviously, being a champ is a tremendous accomplishment, but even more, like, this could be the beginning. So if people reframe their minds in that context, I think this could be exciting. Alex Pereira, he's coming up for a title defense. I think if it was his first fight at light heavyweight, there'd be more anticipation. But it is what it is, and people need to recognize that this is still probably the most amazing fight on the card. I think it is the most amazing fight in the card. Justin, let's talk to you first about your prediction. And obviously, you are friends with Jamal Hill, full disclosure, but let's hear it.
Cascade, sweet dreams, baby. Sweet dreams all the way. I'm taking Jamal Hill by knockout. I think Alex is going to overlook Jamal's striking. Jamal is very, very precise. He's very, very skilled, and when it comes to MMA, and he is very, very smart. You know, I'm sure there's some holes in Alex's game that Jamal and his team have probably picked up, and I know that his game plan is going to be great. Something I love about Jamal Hill, more than almost any other fighter, you know, almost like Conor McGregor in the sense, he's still with the same team he started doing MMA with. When he was an amateur, he still has the same head coach. He still has the same, similar training partners. This guy's as loyal as they can be, man. This guy works his ass off. He's very, very smart. He's very, 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 very precise. And I think he knocks Alex out.
Okay, I think I've talked about this earlier as well. And that's another thing that people talked about, his fight IQ that gets overlooked a lot. He is a very smart fighter. And on the weigh-in show this morning, he did say that exactly. He's like, yep, we found the holes. He's like, I'm not going to tell you what they are, but we found them. We've identified them. We've got a game plan that is going to, hinge on those holes or those deficiencies that we've identified. Boom, there you go. But man, both fighters are really incredible. And hey, I think it's going to be, man, what a way to cap this fight, this entire card off. Guys, if you're new to the sport and this is one of the first cards that you're buying and watching in full, man, you're in for a treat. I think it's just going to be absolutely so much fun to watch. Watch it with some friends. Watch it with some other MMA fans as well, and really get in the mix. Guys, thank you so much for joining. This is such a blast. We're going to do another show with Jesse on Fire on Monday, so make sure to tune in there. If you haven't checked out Jesse on Fire's channel, obviously massive channel, really, really great analysis there. And that's it, guys. Justin, any last words before we sign off?
Hey, man, I am so excited about this card. Like you said, if you're a casual fan or if you're just getting MMA, this is the card to watch. Go to a bar, drink some beer with your friends, enjoy this show, and we will see you on Monday.
All right, guys, have an amazing weekend. See you on the other side of UFC 300, and we will see you in the next episode. Take it easy.